A question that I've had at the back of my mind for the past few months is how this word in Irish is pronounced in everyday speech. Un. Or is it just simply said as You most often see un before singular nouns, and it can also make an appearance in the genitive case. But regardless of its use, how is it said? So I think I'll first look at the books to see what the books have to say. Diarmuid O'Shea appears to write that the N in the article is pronounced. For example, he has given an knock for the pronunciation of the hill. However, I'm still unsure whether it will be pronounced as a knock in natural speech as opposed to an knock with the N. Interestingly, O'Shea notes how the unstressed vowel can get elided, meaning only the N is left. For example, choscail sé an doras. However, I don't think this is exactly what I'm looking for. In Volume 1 of the Linguistic Atlas and Survey of Irish Dialects, one of the sentences examined was on the road. Focusing on the province of Munster, the majority of speakers said something along the lines of Eide Mór. This is clear evidence that the singular article is just pronounced as an unstressed vowel. If my interpretation of the map is correct, only one speaker in Munster had any trace of the N sound in the article. When looking into my question, I was debating whether I would have a look at the book The Irish of West Muskerry, written by Brian O'Keefe, or not. And I'm glad I did, as O'Keefe summarises the situation well. He says, N of the article on may be elided before a consonant when the preceding word ends in a consonant. And he gives a few examples. He gives the example Eide Mór. And importantly, at the end of this section of the book, he also notes how in slow speech the N is often retained. My question has essentially been answered by O'Keefe, but I just want to have a listen to some recordings of speakers to see how they pronounce the N in the article un.
Well, ní gine sagarta ní ach scrí segri sagarta dangin agus dúr change cíole sagarta dangin.
Well, da loch banna tír rúmpa agus
Fad réir, agus an réisio mór, agus an stór.
So I think what I can conclude from this is that there's no definite answer. The presence of the N in the article on seems to depend on the speed of the speaker, so we can't say it's wrong to include the N in the article. Also, it's important to note, I think, that it's a whole different story when vowels are involved.